So you really all right. So this is so hilarious to me. I've only ever thought about grafting after tasting one of your figs.
So you were inspired to learn about grafting, like, oh, I need parts.
No, I really was because, well, first I was just like, okay, I want to know everything there is to know about the fig trees and the different type of fig trees and, what are the options if I decide to try to, grow one in the back of my house. But Latiana has a fig tree and a persimmon tree. And I want you to talk about it on your own, but I just have to tell y'all, I love figs. I think they're one of the best fruits on this earth. And your fig tree produces so many figs when they're ready.
So plentiful.
And they're so delicious. I mean, when you buy them from the store, they're very good. Don't get me wrong. But like fresh picked from the tree is a whole nother level. And
I never had a fig before.
No,
it was in my before.
But you had like fig Newtons and stuff, but not like a fig. No, I don't like fig Newtons.
No,
either.
I never had them because I wasn't. I don't like how it look. Seriously. So
figs are unique though because I mean,
gorgeous.
Yeah,
fruit.
They're really pretty.
They're very pretty. They're very sensual. Like, aren't they considered a aphrodisiac?
I'm not sure, but I feel like even if they're not, they are.
Yeah, like sure. Yeah, you got to be sexy when you eat a fig. Like, it is not even intentionally. It's like to get it in.
But it's hilarious to me that, when you look at a lot of shapes of different fruits and vegetables too, they tend to resemble the part of the body that they benefit the most.
Yes, and the colors.
And the colors too, yes. Like we've seen that with like walnuts. They look like a brain and they're like so healthy for your brain. Yes. And then you have like figs where the outside of them, like it could look like a testicle, literally.
It definitely does.
And on the inside, it looks more like the female anatomy. And if I'm not mistaken, figs are excellent for reproductive health. And so I always think about that. And it's just, I mean.
And they're really good for.
How do you explain that?
Gastrointestinal health too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you said, so you wanted to steal my fig tree.
I mean, I never would, but like I was so jealous. I'm just like, and she bought a house that already had a mature enough tree that is producing fruit. And I mean, like, and then the persimmons too, but figs are like my jam. So I said to myself, okay, like for me, if you want to get into the tree game, you need to really learn more about trees because when you're immersed with just like gardening, it's just like that can be your focus for the rest of your life if you allow it to, because there's so many avenues. But I said, all right, I'm gonna branch out to another section of, plant life. And, I also should mention throughout the pandemic, Penn State had many free courses, open to anyone who was willing to take them. And I took a couple that had to do with, like managing tree care and pests and things of that nature.
I want to be a tree tender. In our neighborhood and like in the city, like they have tree tenders. I want to learn how to care for trees.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so I got my feet wet with those courses, which were very interesting because trees are very similar, but they have some very different, properties and abilities.
Much different than like small edible plants.
And they're, just in their nature, they're more ancient, I think, than, plants are. So there's some like mysticism there, but yeah, so learned a little bit about that. And through those courses, they talked a little bit about grafting. And I'm just like, okay, grafting is a very cool concept. So for anybody that doesn't know, grafting is the ability to cut off or take a piece of one tree, or grafting can actually be done with some plants, but mostly with trees. And you can, through a very specific process, attach that to another tree and have it actually root onto that tree and grow that same plant, but it's getting the nutrients from, this like donor tree.
A symbiotic relationship.
Yes. And like on paper, it sounds like it wouldn't be possible, but it absolutely is. And specifically with like fig trees and, they were talking about lemon trees and tropical trees and, so many different ways that you can go about it. But the process itself is like peeling, detaching or peeling the bark from one tree, but not just like the outer layer, putting like another medium around it, which could be plastic or glass or something of that nature, packing it with some soil, and then allowing roots to come out and just like reattach to that plant. So while I haven't tried it yet, It's definitely on my list of things to, you know, really get into. I'm going to be at your house because I'm going to get, if you allow me, I know like we can be very sensitive about our plants and stuff, but when you're ready and if you're ready, I would love a piece of your fig tree. I don't know what I'm attaching to yet, but we'll figure it out by the time we get there.
I found the berry bush. Yes. I think it'll work. I will definitely allow you to have a branch of my fig tree, but I think that I'm more willing now because last year my fig tree endured so much damage. It again hurt my feelings. As y'all can tell, I'm really sensitive to nature. Everything hurts my feelings. But like one of the kids just was in the backyard and, you know, children climb trees, but fruit trees, boys and girls, are not as strong as other trees. Right. So yeah, a huge limb of my fig tree broke and I was heartbroken. But I have been like working on that tree because I cut off the main broken limb, but I let it stay on there for a while. So actually, no, I didn't cut it off. Why am I even claiming that?
I was about to say, was your hope that it was going to like reattach?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So there's like other pieces further down the story that I ended up cutting off like branches. But the original branch that was really big that had broke, I let it stay there for a long time because I was like, maybe my plan actually was to get out there and it sounds a lot like grafting. So basically like if the limb was like this, I was going to tie a rope around it and around the tree so it could reattach itself. But so I had a whole plan to do it and it was probably months down the line, but the tree still, and I'm also monitoring this branch. Right. So like, I knew immediately when I walked to the back of my house that something happened that day that it happened. So, but I also noticed that the shape of my fig tree was different. So like the whole center was really like empty, but it began to grow new shoots this year.
Right from that break?
Yeah, from that area, not the break, but from that area. So essentially I went in there and I took rope and wrapped it around that tree. And then I have another tree, a crepe myrtle in the front of my house that one day I came home and it was like, branches hanging like on the lawn. I'm like, what is happening here? But that tree too, took some rope, some twine, wrapped it around, and the tree is good. And I feel really good about me being committed to keeping the trees on my property. And then again, back to survival. It's really important that we have some edible fruit trees.
Very important. I mean, whole species.
Literally, I'm like, no,
go.
The figs have to stay. The persimmons. Do I eat persimmons? No. Are they there? Yes. I'm keeping my tree. And that tree actually got damaged a few weeks ago when we had that really bad storm. Yeah. I don't know if it was the wind or a lightning strike or what, but girl, that joint is drooping.
I know.
But it's still producing fruit. Like it's not dead. And that's so powerful. That's exciting to me.
Like what I love about trees also is that it's one thing to, you know, manage trees that have existed, you know, like probably our age or before we were born. But it's another thing entirely to like grow new trees because it's such an investment in the future that 9 times out of 10 you may not even, you know, benefit from. But it's literally for the future. You know, it's for your children. It's for your children's children. And, you know, just thinking about that, it brings me so much joy in my heart, you know, that's like a thing that we can do. Yes. Like, I'm planting this tree so that my grandkids will have something to sit underneath to provide them shade or to provide them food.
Yeah, because unlike edible plants, they are not temporary. You plant that tree, and it does what, like, it's supposed to stay there.